Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're basically playing archive detective. We are dusting off the forgotten, honestly incredible records of a transnational empire that most history books have just completely overlooked. We're looking at this massive story of migration, immense wealth, diplomatic mastery, and profound philanthropy. And it's all centered around one really remarkable individual. So let's dive right into this. We are kicking things off with a bit of a historical mystery. Who exactly was this man living in French Indochina, wielding such massive influence that he was catching the eye of the absolute highest political figures in India? Like, how does a merchant in Saigon become such a central figure in the diaspora that he's actually commanding the attention of Prime Minister Jawaharlal Nehru? To answer that, I want you to look really closely at the signature at the bottom of this archival document. That is a personal letter dated December 2nd, 1954, from India's Prime Minister, Jawaharlal Nehru himself. He's writing directly to a Mr. Abdul Aziz, the president of the Central Indian Association in Saigon. And Nehru is expressing overwhelming gratitude, writing, "The affection I receive from my countrymen and others is so generous that I feel overwhelmed by it." I mean, to receive a personal typed letter like this from Nehru, that speaks volumes about Abdul Aziz's status and his reach. Now, to really understand how he caught Nehru's attention in the first place, we have to go back to his roots. These early portraits and glimpses of the Jam family storefronts tell a pretty incredible story of migration. This family, including figures like Jam Abdul Rahim, migrated all the way from Kutanallur, a town in Tamil Nadu, India, over to Southeast Asia. And they didn't just move. They built an absolute retail and trade empire right from the ground up. They essentially laid the economic foundation that would eventually launch Abdul Aziz onto the world stage. Tracing their historical footprint across borders is honestly pretty wild. The archives show that their business was established in Vietnam, across Hanoi and Saigon, back in the late 1800s. Fast forward to 1939, and they're already using their vast wealth to establish educational institutions back home, like the Mamba ul Ola School. Then look at July 1940. Right during the absolute height of global tension in World War II, a pivotal meeting was called to establish an Indian nationalist society in Saigon. They were way beyond just doing business. They were actively shaping the political and social landscape of their community abroad. That shift from pure commerce to becoming a pillar of the community was absolutely profound. J.M. Muhammad Ismail and later Abdul Aziz weren't just merchants anymore. They took on an immense amount of social responsibility. The records specifically name him as the chief of the Congregation of Muslims and the administrator of the Saigon Mosque. In a foreign land under colonial rule, holding those titles meant you were the primary representative, the protector, and literally the voice of your people. And let me tell you, that kind of leadership did not go unnoticed by the ruling powers. Notice the sheer scale of prestige here. Abdul Aziz literally stood shoulder to shoulder with high-ranking colonial and diplomatic officials, earning incredibly prestigious royal medals for his diplomatic finesse. He was navigating a very complex colonial hierarchy and doing it with such mastery that he was being officially recognized and decorated by multiple governments. Just look at the sheer density of text on this preserved profile card. It is an absolute wall of international knighthoods and commendations. It proves, without a doubt, that he was one of the most highly decorated diplomats and community leaders of his entire era. Let's actually translate that dense text for a second. We're talking the Chevalier de la Légion d'honneur, literally the absolute highest French Order of Merit, alongside top-tier honors from Tunisia, Cambodia, and Vietnam. Oh, and a Red Cross Medal of France for humanitarian work, just for good measure. That is an almost absurdly impressive list of global achievements for a single individual from Kutanallur. Seeing him here warmly greeting a dignitary at a formal event, you can tell he clearly navigated these high society, diplomatic circles with total ease. He served as this vital bridge, a really crucial connection point between the Indian diaspora in Southeast Asia and the global colonial powers of the time. He earned their respect, which in turn protected and elevated his own community. Section 1. The Philanthropist, Wealth with a Purpose. Check out this exact number pulled straight from historical clippings. $7,781.99. Now, in the mid-20th century, that wasn't just a simple donation. Actually, scratch that. It was an absolute fortune. He gave this to the Tamil Library Fund because he deeply understood that preserving culture, language, and education was just as critical as economic survival. And he didn't stop there. He mobilized others, raising even more funds from the diaspora to amplify this impact. But his generosity wasn't just limited to his new home, it extended right back to where he was born. The archives reveal his profound economic dedication to his homeland, too. This Tamil newspaper clipping details a massive initiative, funneling 66 lakh rupees into building a sugar factory in the Thanjavur district. He wasn't just sending charity back home. He was actively investing in infrastructure to stimulate local industry and create real jobs for his people in India. Now, this headline from Singapore perfectly captures just how much regional influence he had. It reads, Saigon Indian leader entertained in Singapore, and it details a farewell tea party given in his honor right before he sailed for Madras. During this trip, he wasn't just making social calls. He actively championed the diaspora. He gave speeches urging Malayan Indians to drop their petty personal prejudices, to sink their sectional differences, and to unite to bring a good name to their community. And during that exact same speech in Singapore, he threw down a direct challenge to the affluent members of his community with this powerful call to action. He exhorted them to put their money to good uses rather than hoard it. It's a beautifully simple, yet incredibly demanding philosophy. He wasn't just telling them what to do either. He was the living embodiment of that principle, literally having just donated fortunes to libraries and factories. Ultimately, this incredible transnational journey is quite literally set in stone. On his tombstone, intricate carvings reflecting his Islamic faith sit right alongside French inscriptions detailing his life. It proudly notes he was born in Kuthanalur, states he was a merchant, and then lists those unbelievable honors: Chevalier de la Légion d'honneur, the Royal Sahamatre, the whole shebang. Even in rest, his monument reflects a man who seamlessly belonged to multiple worlds simultaneously. So, as we close the books on this particular archive, it leaves us asking a really crucial question. In our hyper-connected modern world, what can today's diaspora communities learn from Abdelaziz's transnational leadership? He proved that you can reach the absolute pinnacle of global success without ever abandoning the roots that anchored you. Makes you wonder, who else is hiding in the margins of our history books, just waiting to be rediscovered? Thank you so much for joining me on this deep dive into the archives.